Ew, League of Legends. Why? This WoW update looks weird. Where is WoW content?
Alright League of Losers players, yeah everyone wants to know what's the latest with my troll and did he die, and the answer is, maybe. So why would I break my 36-day hiatus where the last game I played I popped off, lost, and had hundreds of comments tell me why it was my fault just to come back and play this piss pit of a game again? Well, like any addiction, I got the craving to relapse as I had a dream of defeating the game's awful design by building full kite movement speed Jhin. The idea is you go 3 runes that buff his movement speed, 6 items that have some movement speed effect, and pair it with the fact that he gets the white girl hyped up on Charlie D'Amelio Starbucks Frappuccino Zoomies when he crits, and voila, you have the patent pending 11 movement speed boosted Jhin, which will make you feel like you are tripping on bath salts in the best way ever, shown by me repeatedly breaking this red buff's ankles. Now disclaimer, because League of Legends players are sweatier than P. Diddy giving the cops a house tour, the whole purpose of this build is to feel like I have insane reflexes and that I'm speed hacking the game, so let me be clear, this is not by any means an optimal build compared to that of a normal ADC. If you want an optimal build, you'll want to use Professor, a completely free League companion app that is always the most up-to-date source for the best picks and builds at every rank for every patch. It gives you scouting reports and norms so you can know things like how your ADC banned your jungler's one trick. It tells you the top build and what all the pros are building on each champ you have selected that you can import right into your client. During load and screen you can get stats on every single player in the game to know who is most likely going to tilt and rage quit if you focus them and who is sweating hard and should be avoided. It has nifty little in-game overlays that let you know how you compare to other players your rank, as well as summoner spell tracking widgets so that you can always know what your enemy has up their sleeve. Then after a heartbreaking defeat when Riot's client is being buggier than a scorpion orgy, you can use its cutting-edge endgame reports to know the areas where you can improve so that you can win more and thus have more fun playing this godforsaken game. All of this is free, so check the link below and thank them for the sponsor. But today isn't about optimal builds. Today is about opening that rune page, making sure my footwork is fleet, and then adding every movement speed option available. The flat bonuses, the Michael Phelps passive, and some far unadulterated genetics is the setup I was working with here while taking the blue sprinter for my second summoner spell. I do confess I start the game with the blade. I mugged off some scrub named Duran because I need to get kill credit on these hoodlums or I'll never fund the rest of my items, and as you can see by this snooze fest, I managed to ace the first wave exam. The Cyberpunk 77 Malzahar that I'm against is playing like a bigger pussy than what you'd find stretched out between Lillian Phillips' legs, but as you can see with just the speed hack talents, my fourth shot lets me zoom right up to that passive playing AIDS distributor and throw some shit in his farm addicted face. Then I hit my first back, and the initial decision is that I will hit just the tier 1 Goodwill Nikes plus the hammer that gives me a little caffeine enema after each auto attack, but then I realize if I become a sneakerhead now and get the wingtip Nikes, I'll be even faster all the time, so I hit that with a longsword. I'm over here falling asleep during this farm simulator, but then I see some white titan dude who is having a domestic dispute with his dog, so I rush over there and add to the situation by counting out loud in front of them. I position out of danger with my almost 500 movement speed to make sure the dog gets sucked off before I loop around to hit him with the 3-4 McGregor, and we come out on top as I chase that floating loser back into his playpen. I now have purchased the Donkey Kong hammer, which lets my auto attacks make me a little excited, but I'm not excited to see our bot lane has gotten their dicks kicked in, so I have to book a flight south. Little Red Riding Hood's feline grandmother arrives to the crime scene first, where I am the victim of some of her fire shrapnel, but I'm still there to claim my assist. G's. I hit a rooter scooter on the burnt bagel bite, but then the floating fuckboy starts sucking me off and I have to speed hack my way out of there. That said, I have half of them lower than a finale round limbo bar after a fat ult, which means my blood sending corgi is going to have a field day. It's worth noting that the cauterized cuck managed to survive all the festivities of the prior 20 seconds, but now we had the bimbos of the bot lane back, and that was enough to finish off the job. Then some giant world war breaks out over who gets to beat up a big beetle in river, but luckily we were graced with our support's presence, who showed us what her ult looks like when it doesn't hit anyone, as I thin beamed Malzahar and then made like horse shit and hit the road. I then proceeded to use my bullets on the tower so that I can act like I understand macro. Anyways, there's a war over vision from a few board certified shit stains down bot, and I have the movement speed to take a few trips, so I lend a thin beam to seatbelt the burnt bagel bite, and then I run around with Keemstar speed for a bit until I can yell numbers in the goth's face before zooming out of there. Then I started playing 7D chess with this floating what the fucks. You see, I kept leaving lane and getting kills from roaming because I'm speed hacking, right? But then what I did is I pretended to do it again, but really I was just ripping a fat whisper piss in the tall weeds because I knew that dumbass would rotate late, and I guess sucks to suck it was bring your rabies dog to work day, so let's just say he didn't survive the outplay. This allowed me to zoom down south for real this time, but unfortunately my Seraphine was too busy flicking her own clit to actually contribute to society, so I have to bust a flash like a whore on Mardi Gras who wants beads and get out there so that I can spectate Tweedledum the Ginger get her own shit shafted under tower. We were in a bit of a pickle, but thankfully Billie Jean Armstrong decided it would be wise to straight line walk right into a Seraphine ult, so it all worked out. My job was now to run around like an athletic psychopath while clearing waves just to buy enough time for the next doggy day care to let its students out for the day, where I would then miss all my abilities and proceed to do almost no damage because my build is moronic. But we trade 1 for 1 and then I can reposition with ease because I'm hyped up on G Fuel after every auto. So after 3 items and I have so much movement speed that the only possible way for me to die at this point is to overextend, miss position, and then proceed to fail flash over a wall as shown on screen to demonstrate. But hey, look at the disgusting movement speed gap between me and these chickens. As you just know, somewhere out there Usain Bolt be watching my robot voiced Silver Elo League of Legends gameplay videos while being real quiet right now. More jungle fights break out over absolutely no objective. I'm not gonna act like I know what's going on or that I give a fuck, as I'm just happy to be here and jamming my weenus into my right click button. We end up turning the tides of this one, and no molten bull is going to outrun me and my tiptoeing whispers. The pattern of an ARAM continues as I'm now 5 items deep, which means every time I auto attack someone I spike up to almost 700 movement speed, which is a kiter's wet dream at this point in the game, and it also makes me stickier than a jizz covered piece of gum, so no one in team fights is able to get away. At one point you can see the diabetic ram coming after me, and even though I miss half my shit, all it takes is one auto attack for him to realize he will quite literally never catch up to me, so he gives up. Then, because my build is almost as wrong as my macro gameplay, which is almost as bad as my teammates, the bad guys are knocking at our bot lane's front door and I want to fight, so I zoom out to be the proverbial Miralax to get this shit moving, and it works like a charm. Everyone successfully hates each other, and now I get to show off the fact that when anyone looks at me I will have the moves like Mick Jagger, which gives me the false confidence that I am a good player. This fight is where I would recommend trying this yourself, because while my damage is pitiful, being this fast in a team fight lets you feel like you can actually outspace and outplay your opponents, and for that reason alone I think the 12 buff speed hack Jhin is worth playing. And once I added a 6th item into the mix with some lethality, I can still shout numero uno and do half of a chewed up goth's health in one auto. Quick fit check to see how dank killing a blue buff with constant cocaine enemies looks like. Anyways, I still don't know what I should be doing because I have zero desire to treat this game as anything other than team deathmatch, so I just assist my wolf and then see how many different angles I can tap that bull's ass from before he dies. This is great and all until you consider I built almost 0 damage and definitely nothing to deal with tanks, so they can kind of just march down while giggling as I tickle them. But the reality of building full movement speed is that if you get stunned and aerial banged, it doesn't really help you out, so of course we lose because it would be off brand for my channel not to into that. I would like to see a good ADC with good kiting auto attack moves and other mechanical goodness to try this out, because I bet that'd be fun as hell to watch. More WoW coming soon. Rav out.